Hey YouTube, Mary here. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you are used to my channel, this is going to be different than what you're used to because normally I share writing tips and strategies for completing your novel and memoir. And today I have a guest, my first guest on YouTube. Meet Harrison. Harrison is my colleague. She is the powerhouse behind the Book Incubator, which is the
Oh,
program
stop.
that we run together. And so I'm really excited to have a new face on the YouTube channel. Harrison specifically is here to give us her first impressions of the Freewrite Traveler, which is a writing device that we have no affiliation with. This is not an ad. We have no professional relationship with these people. We do not get a kickback. We are not sponsored. We are just curious, and we have been curious for a long time. We work with writers who, many of whom write by hand in notebooks, many of whom also type on computers. And the Freewrite seemed like this kind of cool middle ground. I'm a handwriter, Harrison is a typer. And we thought, like, let's see how this works. So Harrison, you just got your Freewrite Traveler, which is the smaller version, right?
Yeah, actually, like overall, I've been honestly kind of obsessed with this thing because it's super light. I find that it's very nice to type on. Um like I'm very much a person that likes kind of like clicky keys. I know some people don't really like that, but
Same.
I really
Love
like the
it.
clicky keys and having like that physical like haptic response to me typing. And boy are these keys clicky.
Like
So
more than a
that's really
laptop,
nice.
more than your
Um
laptop.
I would say about as much as a laptop. Like the keys themselves, if you take a look here, are like, they're not super thick, so they can't
Yeah.
be terrifically loud, but they're like, I would say about as thick as the keys on my laptop. And I have a MacBook Pro from 2021. Um and those are also pretty thin, but they're pretty loud when I
Hmm.
type on them. And this gets about as loud, um, which is nice. But yeah, and so it's super easy to type on. Speaking of the screen, it uses, if I'm not mistaken, it uses the same or very similar technology to the Kindle. So if you have a Kindle or if you've ever used one, it's like they call it e-ink. So it's black and white. You're not going to get like terrific images out of this, but you don't really need to because what you're doing is writing. And the other thing that's nice about it is that you can use it in direct sunlight and still see the screen and see what you're doing. So there's no backlight, which means you
Mm.
can't use it in the dark. But I think generally most people are at least writing with a light on. Um, so you don't really like, I find that I don't really need the backlight. But because it's an e-ink screen and uses this kind of technology that you can see it in direct sunlight, you can take it outside. You can go and write in the park, or you can go and sit in a cafe with the sun streaming on you, and you can still see the screen, which is amazing, I
Huge,
think.
huge.
We're
Like,
because we're always so used to like not being able to see our phone screens or our
yes.
laptop screens in direct sunlight. And you can do that with this. And it makes the picture better when you have direct sunlight
Oh,
on it. Like this is
really?
definitely doable. And I don't have direct sunlight hitting the screen right now. This is just, but there is sunlight coming in from my window. And um but like when I hold it up to the window, it looks super bright. So they don't call it the Traveler for nothing. You quite literally can take it anywhere. Go outside, go right in the park, go right in your garden, go right in the cafe. And it's super light as well. And
That
hold it up in direct sunlight because it looks beautiful.
that might be my biggest selling point on this thing. Because that
Yeah,
drives me
the
nuts, right?
screen
When
is
you can't
great.
sit outside because you can't see your screen because it's like a beautiful day
Yeah.
and you're like, this is the one place I want to be writing right now. That's a good feature.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I didn't really understand how nice of a feature it is until I actually tried it out. Like I actually held it up to my window. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this looks great." I want y'all to see the actual text as well. I I am very much, well, I come from a graphic design background. So I am very much a person who's like, if I don't like the way it looks, I can't use it. So fonts are really important to me, and I really like this font. I think it's a nice halfway between kind of like this serify, bookish, what you see printed in a book, and a more computer like font. It's easy to read. I will say I am curious to know what some folks who like have dyslexia, or some other um you challenge to like viewing text or letters would think of this font, because
Hmm.
I've heard that if the more distinct each of the letters are, then the less likely you are to put them in the reverse order, or read a word wrong, or read a word incorrectly. So I am curious to know what folks who prefer those more distinct
Hmm.
letter types would think of this font. But for me, I really like it. You'll see here that the first part is me like typing my real-time thoughts about it, like as I first opened it. And then my roommate saw me using it. It was like, that's really cool. Can I type on it? And so I said yes. And then he just typed nonsense.
Cowboy howdy.
Um
There are howdy. They're
yeah.
howdy. They're howdy.
So
That's
you'll see, but
amazing.
actually, this is a great. This is actually a good example of text to look at, because you'll see like some, there are some words misspelled. I mean, obviously, he was not typing for accuracy, but I find like
Yeah.
I'm a super fast typer, but I'm not super accurate. I often have to like go back and retype stuff. So that I think was one of the drawbacks, that I find it's not super easy or intuitive to like go back into older text if you see a mistake or want to make an edit. There is a way of doing it, but you do have to punch in a shortcut to activate the WASD keys to kind of function as your arrow keys, because there are not
Mm.
separate arrow keys on the keyboard.
And you don't
And
have
I
a
actually have
mouse.
not. Yeah, and you don't have a mouse, so you can't click around, and it's not a touch screen, so you can't click around or use a cursor for that. Um, but so I often find like if I've misspelled something, it honestly is just easier to backspace. But that can be annoying if I've already typed like five more words after that. So that I think is the like only one of the few drawbacks to um how limited the keyboard is, but I think it's a fair trade-off for the portability. It's called the traveler for a reason. Like you do have to make sacrifices in order to streamline the design, to make it as light as possible, to make it as, make it this size. Because they could have added like a number keypad. They could have added, separate arrow keys, but that would make the device longer. And I do like that it is very small, and
Hmm.
super light and portable. And it's a clamshell design as well. So if you close it, you can hold it in your hand like this,
Looks
almost like
super
you could.
portable.
Yeah, you could even, if you wanted to, it's super reflective. So all of you are also seeing the mess of my desk. But you can easily turn this into like a little accessory, like turn it into like your clutch purse. Just carry it around like this. Like, here's my free write with nothing else. If you wanted, if all you were gonna do is go somewhere and write,
And
and
right,
if
yeah.
you can buy anything, just go and write. Leave your phone at home.
Hey, can I
Yeah.
ask, have you tried to write creatively on it yet? Or should we do that in another
Um,
video in the future?
I have not, just because I was so psyched just to start typing on it. And also I finished the first draft of a novel the other day. So not on the free write, because I did not have a free write yet. So my brain has been a little fried the past couple days. I'm like, I'm
Right.
just not gonna write anything for the rest of the week. Um, but I am very excited to try to write creatively on it. I do think I'm very much a typer. It's just easier for me. So I am very excited to see what it feels like typing on a device that kind of just cuts out all the distractions. I'm not tempted to look anything up on Wikipedia and fall down a Wikipedia hole.
Yeah.
Um, which I am want to do. Like this is, just what you need, and nothing extra. I think there's a lot to be said for that. I think,
Mhm.
I'm excited to see how it feels when writing creatively, but I have a feeling that it's gonna be I have a feeling that it's gonna be good and productive and effective.
I love that. And I just want to weigh in too on the lack of autocorrect and how it can be tricky to go back and correct spelling. I don't think for me that would be a big deal because frankly, when I'm typing a first draft, I often handwrite, but when I'm typing a first draft, I will turn off autocorrect anyway because the little red and like spelling and grammar check because the little red line just annoys me and I don't want to I want to stay in the keep my momentum going and I don't want to go back and change those because even if I spell something wrong, it's like, who cares? It is so fast to do a spelling and grammar check after you have a draft, right? And it's like, we found
Yeah.
80 errors or 200 errors. And you're like, fix, 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 fix. I mean, it's like less than 6 minutes. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's a big deal. Like, it's like, okay, you may have some typos. Like, who cares? you know?
Yeah. If you're a person that tends to want to fix them immediately, just get used to not doing that.
In a way, it's like a feature of this. Maybe it can like help train you not to just constantly go back and tweak, which is part of the point,
Right.
right? Like, and this is
Yeah, this
why
makes it really difficult to edit as you go, but that is by design, and they advertise that on on their website and in their marketing materials. And I think that that actually is really good, especially if you're using this to write a first draft of something. It is very much designed so that you like really can't go back and edit easily. Um, which I think is something that we should all probably do more of.
exactly. And that's why, like in the Book Incubator, we teach handwriting. We encourage people to try it if they can for this reason that it's harder to go back and edit. And that's why I often handwrite first. But the Freewrite, especially, I mean, this is why we wanted to try it because it seems like this middle ground between a laptop and a notebook that you're writing by hand in. So I'm excited. We're going to make more videos. Harrison will report back. So if you want to hear more about the Freewrite, then subscribe so you don't miss more of our videos about it.